Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Aurora Stefrak and here I am to deliver you the weekly intuitive energy update for the week of August 23rd, 2021. I'll make the side note real quick that if you find this video anytime beyond this week specifically, that is okay because these are timeless messages. And what I mean by that is that basically it's just a vibrational match to whatever your energy is. So your higher self is working through the universe and providing you with this information because you're a vibratory match. Whether it is this week, that is true, and whether it's later on, it is also true. Cool, so I got that out of the way. So welcome. I hope that you had a good week. Today I am feeling so much better. Like, the full moon was yesterday, and I will get a little bit into the details of that. But my gosh, guys, I don't know how you guys have felt the last 2 weeks, but for me personally, it has been intense. Like, super dark, super emotional, super shadow energy, super confusion, chaos within my own personal life and my emotions, and I'll get into why that is the case in a minute. And because we're now exiting out of a portal, I'm just gonna fold this blanket up, put it under my butt so that you feel a little bit more supported. Oh yeah, that's way better. Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. So there was the full moon yesterday, and today, honestly, like, I feel like I can breathe again. I have so much energy today. I'm so clear. My creativity is flowing. I went to the gym. I realized that that's a part of my personal self-care routine that is really, really, really crucial in order for my mental health, my physical health, my emotional health, all aspects of my health, right? And while we hear all the time, exercise is good, whatever, for real, for me, like, that's the key. Like, I have to be active. I have to be moving my body. I have to get out of my head and get into my body. So, like, when I'm exercising, I'm not even thinking because I'm using my body in a way that I don't even have time to think because I'm too busy breathing and making sure that I'm doing what I'm doing properly, right? So anyways, I just kind of wanted to start off with that. So I hope that you guys are feeling a bit more energetic after this this full moon that we have. Now, we still are kind of in the energy because it's usually for 3 days before and 3 days after the full moon, the new moon, whatever is happening, like whatever phase it is, there's like that energy of like the crossover between the phase, right? So 3 days leading up to the moon, and then now 3 days after, we're kind of like the energy is softening as we kind of exit. So we hit the peak and now we're kind of leaving that energy, right? So I guess let's just get right into the moons, because this is really, really important to understand where we are right now, because we just had the time was just 333. So that means that we are divinely guided and ascended masters and angels are with us. Okay, let me just start with basically, I'm going to start at the July 23rd full moon in Aquarius. That was kind of like the opening of this portal. We had the Lionsgate energy in the middle, and then we're now closing the portal from this full moon that happened in Aquarius. Now, it is not common to have 2 full moons in the same sign back to back. So I have looked a little bit into astrology so that I could kind of be able to explain this a bit better. So that is not common. It's common to, well, every year there's two full moons in the same sign, but they're not always back to back like that. So this year it's just so interesting how the stars align, because it was the beginning of the lion, the Leo energy that opened up with that full moon. And now we're closing it off with this full moon in August, the Leo energy, right? So it's just very fascinating to see kind of like the energy that bubbled and overroared. And now we're kind of heading into like a more calm energy. But yes and no, because there's a calm before the storm. So I'm going to get into that as well, with grounding in our emotions, grounding in our energetic bodies, our mental bodies, and our emotional bodies, especially right now, because we really need to connect to our authenticity and truth right now, because it's really an intense time right now, and with basically our rights and our freedoms being stripped from us. So it's really an intense time. So really being in tune with your own rhythm, with your own truth, with your own heartbeat, is going to make this journey maybe not easier per se, but in the end easier, I promise. Because when we're in alignment with our truth, we can't be swayed. And that is not that we aren't open to other, perspectives and opinions and different things. But for me personally, I've done a lot of belief work. I've dug and I've dug and I've dug, and I've allowed things to come up and come up and come up. And so for me, with everything that's going on right now, in a way, like, I've been preparing for this for years, and I didn't know why or what. I was just trusting myself, trusting my intuition, trusting my flow, right? So this energy, this portal that we just went through it kind of activated us into our authenticity, into our truth, into our knowings, into our ego, but in a beneficial way, in a healthy way, right? So like, there's nothing wrong with the ego. There's nothing bad about the ego. These are all kind of misconceptions of what the ego really is. The ego is really just here to keep us safe, right? And so, and it's like our anchor to our personality. Like, Aurora is the ego, the body is, and the soul and everything else is just what is. It is the divine. And the thing that gives me the perspective of me, my unique perspective, is my ego, right? So it's really important to make sure that you don't just dismiss the ego and suppress the ego and try not to look at the ego, or try to, find ways to not actually acknowledge your uniqueness and your individuality. And that could be a wounded aspect of you that's trying to be, like, we are one energy, like this new age energy where people are just like, oh, we are one and everything's going to come together magically. And it's like, no, there's actually a practical side to spirituality. And that is kind of what we're grounding in, especially with the Aquarian energy. So I was kind of talking about the Leo energy so far, and now we're stepping into the Aquarian energy here with like forward thinking and innovation and creativity and standing in your truth and in your power. These are all Aquarian energies. And also like having the hippie vibe, like the nature vibe, but also very intellectual, right? So they have the balance of the yin and the yang there, right? And also we're going from the Piscean age into the Aquarian age. I don't want to get all into that now because I'll lose my train of thought. But basically we're entering into Aquarian energy. So it's even more powerful and potent that these two moons happen right now, right? As we're entering into this age. Now, of course, like, it's not like one day or 1 year or one night that we shift into this age, because they're 2,000 year cycles, right? So in 2,000 year cycles, you're probably going to have a window of a couple hundred years where you're slowly transitioning in consciousness to evolve to that next part of the cycle, which we're now entering into, which is the Aquarian energy, right? So kind of being introduced to like that Leo energy of like that me, and that sun energy, and it's very childlike as well. So really being able to tap into our playfulness and our creativity and our flow. So there are going to be things that are going to happen very soon, which I don't know what, but there's going to be global shifts happening. Not that they haven't already, but some for real global shifts. So whichever way that manifests and takes form collectively, we have to be connected to our truth, to our authenticity, to understand where to navigate next. Because this is not something you read in a textbook. This isn't something you can study for or prepare for. This is the evolution of human consciousness, and we're living it in real time, right? So how are we going to evolve? What are we going to choose, right? So kind of like the Leo and the Aquarian energy are going to allow for us to have the balance between our own individual selves, as well as the collective, as well as our families, as well as our community. So it's like having that balance and that boundary between being able to take care of my needs and being able to take care of everyone else's needs, right? Because if you are not taking care of your own needs, then of course you're not able to take care of others in your highest potential, right? So if you're able to find the balance between that and give yourself more energy and know that, you know, you have to give yourself love and time and nourishing foods and exercise and water and all of the things that you give your children as well. And I know that it would sometimes feels like too much, or, well, I'm not as important because I need to make sure that they're fed, or da 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 da. If you learn to prioritize, then it all, oh my God, there's a chicken in my video. If you learn to we have chickens. If you learn to prioritize you while balancing everything else, then you're able to perform much better. You're able to be more present. You're able to show up. You're able to feel connected with your life and not feel depleted all the time, right? So yeah, that's kind of what's been being illuminated. And so that's this portal that we just kind of came out of, and we're entering into this next phase of what, like, really this week is like, what is it that kind of like reflect on the last month, and really see how your relationship shifted with others, with yourself, with your children, with your work, in all areas. Like really, like, okay, third eye chakra energy here, right? Like be the observer, be that higher perspective, and kind of like be more objective in the way that you see your life, and kind of learn to detach a little bit emotionally in a healthy way, not suppress, but detach in a healthy way, so you're able to see things in a purer way, in like a purer way, meaning not swayed by your emotions of like what the truth, right, of what actually happened and what's really going on, and not through the lens of your emotional or your mental triggers, right? Okay, cool. That was a lot of information, and I know I hit on a lot of this stuff already, but I'm just gonna kind of skim it and go through it. So yeah, this week is really just the runoff of energies from this portal that we just went through last month. So you know, if you want to do a little bit of homework and look more into Aquarian energy and Leo energy, then I highly recommend it, so that you can understand the archetypes of what it is that we just kind of went through. And that can help you to ground into your experiences and process your emotions, because I'm sure there's a lot of inner child stuff that came up for you in the last 2 weeks, especially being in this Leo energy, maybe even father energy. Yeah, so like just kind of be aware, like, or partner energy, right? Like masculine energy. Yeah, so like just kind of be aware. Oh, bug just flew right in my ear hole. Be aware, right, of what it is that you have mentally been going through, emotionally been going through, physically been going through. So little side note, my elbow was like killing me. Like there was so much pain in my elbow, and I didn't understand what was happening, because I'm like, what the hell? Like, it's not like I'm exercising, it's not like I'm doing anything, and it felt like I strained it, like I worked it too hard and I didn't. And so I was like, what is going on? So whenever I have any physical problems, I always look up the emotional and metaphysical meaning, because then I'm able to hear what the message is in my body, right? So instead of me like intuitively trying to connect to it, I just go to the resources that are already available, and I just look up right elbow hurting, emotional and metaphysical meaning. And then you'll get heaps and heaps and heaps of different things that you can read through. And it was the one that I played the most on was like the masculine energy. So that's what the first one that I shared with, because my dad was around, and like I was going through some stuff with Kyle, and so like I was like just talking about You know, oh, it's the men in my life. The men in my life are driving me crazy, because that's what I read, and it's just, you know, biased and made me laugh, right? So I was like, oh, but it's also kind of true as well, right? So there's truth to it, but also I'm just playing, right? So I'm like, oh man, like I really need to work on this masculine energy. And then there was also like rigidity, your relationship to work, and that's really all I can think of right now. But even just those few things that I listed, they just totally aligned with what was going on for me. And I was like, wow. So, you know, now I've taken the steps that I need. I've shifted the emotions that I need, especially with work. That was so big for me, because living with my mom and living at home, it can get really overwhelming, because she's always got so much on her plate. And so then I'm always trying to help, but then it's like, how do I fit me into all of this chaos, because it never ends, and da 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 da. So that's my work. How can I fit into my life? How can I make everything work? How can I prioritize me, as well as making sure the chickens get fed, and this happens and that happens, and the dishes are done, and, you know, normal life stuff, right? So, yeah. Okay, that's that. Okay, where else do we want to go? Okay, so like strong motivation this week. I'm just going to start reading my list now, and then whatever needs to come up will come up. And then I got 3 decks here that I'm going to play with. So, okay, so strong motivation energy is coming through, decisive action, and mental clarity. Okay, so when I say these 3 things, I'm looking at kind of like the positive side of it, but there's also, and now don't get it too attached to positive and negative, but that's the positive side. And if you're gonna look at like the shadow side of it, strong motivation, say you're feeling the opposite this week, then that is your blockage, right? So there's different ways that you can interpret information for yourself, right? So if you're like, well, I'm not feeling motivated right now, then you could be feeling the opposite of that, and that's your block, because that's the energy that's available to us right now. So if it's available to us, like strong motivation, and we're kind of like not able to feel that, it's like that's your block. That's like, why am I not feeling motivated? So it could bring up turbulence in emotional and mental ways, especially, and physical, I guess, if that's like you're wanting to get into working out and even just moving or going for a walk or whatever, right? So that could be your block. Decisive action. So indecisive, you don't know what to do, and that chaos and that breakdown is what leads to the breakthrough that gives you that decisive action. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, it's so positive, and like I don't feel like that, and like I wish I felt like that, and you're like in your rut, in your emotions, in your mind, then understand that that's just the energy that's present right now. And depending on where you are vibrationally is how you're going to experience the energy, right? I've done the work. I'm doing the work. So I'm just at that higher tier, at that higher level of feeling the energy shifting. Whereas if for the last 2 weeks, say, you were going through a lot and you weren't doing what you needed to do, and your responsibilities are piling up, and you're procrastinating, and you're this and you're that and you're whatever, then these are the things in your life that are tugging on you, that are saying, hey, listen to me. Hey, this isn't working anymore. Hey, you need to do this instead, right? So you already know what that is in your life that is blocking you. But it's about really like sitting down for a minute and just connecting to yourself and saying, okay, what the hell isn't working for me? And what can I do in order to shift this, in order to move forward, in order to move it up and out of me, right? And that's why exercise is so good, because it gets your energy flowing, right? And maybe anything creative. If you like to write, if you like to play guitar and sing, if you like to do anything creative, maybe pottery or whatever you like to do, cooking, anything, right? Okay, and then mental clarity. So you could be feeling confused, lost, uncertain, self-doubt, not feeling worthy, not sure where to go. Again, goes with indecisive, and foggy, uncertain, right? So again, that is the shadow and the light side. So depending on where you are vibrationally is how you're gonna kind of dance with the energy. I was like, how can I say this? How the dance will come, right? If you don't want to dance when the energy's there, then that's your choice, right? But the energy's there. So are you gonna dance? Are you gonna pick up the beat? Are you gonna like get into the emotion and feel the energy and feel the emotions come through you and allow that pain and allow that abandonment or whatever it is that you're feeling to just surface and to be felt? Because I did a lot of that the last 2 weeks. I did a lot of the crying, like a lot of crying. So it's totally normal. It's totally okay. If you don't release your emotions, they keep there. They stay there. They start turning into cancer. They start shifting your energy. They start sucking your life force out of you. When you're not decisive and you're uncertain, the universe can't provide for you. The second you make a choice and say, this is what I'm gonna do, you'll be surprised how the universe pulls through for you and shows up for you, right? It's all about your frequency. It's all about your vibration, and it's all about the energy you're putting out is what you're getting back, okay? Really, really important to understand that. Okay, so I have here too, like Aquarius energies, long-term planning and innovation. So how best to present yourself to the world? This is kind of more energies that have to do with this full moon that we just went through, and the portal, right? Including the Lion's Gate. So how best to present yourself to the world? This is kind of the energy that we're playing with, like, you know, like, who are you and how do you want to show up? Like, I mean, that's totally your call. If you want to be pessimistic, if you want to be negative, if you don't want to take care of yourself, if you want to complain about everything, if you want to stay in your old patterns, if you want to stay there, that's fine. You know, that's totally fine. But if you don't, then you have to change. You have to do something different, right? So how? What do you want? Start asking yourself questions. Start connecting to yourself. How would you like to show up, and how would you like to be seen? And when I ask these, I'm more or less coming from a place of your feelings, right? Like how do you want to feel in the world? Like, I want to be of service. I want to be able to help people. I want to show people that there's a way to be happy and whole totally on your own with nobody else. Yeah, it's nice to have people, and I'm not saying you won't have, but in order to have beautiful relationships, you have to be okay being alone. You have to be okay to be able to, sorry, I got a message. You have to be okay to be able to process your life, to have healthy relationships, right? Because if you don't heal those aspects of yourself, you're just going to keep attracting the same energy, the same relationships with different people, right? So, yeah, let's see. Oh, yeah, illuminating your unique expression and authenticity, right? So, like, stop seeing weird as a bad thing. Stop seeing crazy as a bad thing. I'm weird and crazy, and I embrace it, and I love it. It's like words are just words until you give meaning to them, okay? Words are just words until you give meaning to them. Words are neutral. Words have their own etymology. They have their own lineage. They have their own history. They have their own evolution. Okay? So words are just words until they mean something to you. And then that's what your job is, to understand why you perceive things in that way. I mean, words are so powerful. They're so fucking powerful. And if we understand how we're speaking to ourselves, how we're speaking to others, how we're speaking out to the universe, how we're speaking in every moment in our mind, out loud, our thoughts, our actions, our intentions, all of it. So powerful. When we can purify that, when we can cleanse that, when we can come to the place of neutrality, which is our heart center, with compassion and love and integrity and truth, then you're living your best life. It doesn't really matter how that looks. It's about how that feels, right? And so we haven't really been taught these values in life, in our society, but this is your awakening. Hello, welcome to yourself, to your own brilliance, right? So, yeah, like, start embracing yourself. So the Aquarian energy is also going to be bringing us into, so once we can like illuminate our uniqueness, then it's like focus on bringing the community together, right? So using our strengths to benefit the community, humanitarian and global mind, and free thinker. Like, oh my God, talk about the energies right now, guys, especially if you're on the side of truth and really spreading the message of teaching the truth of our reality is the best way, without me getting into all the deets, which you already know what's going on in the world. But yeah, so like being able to like go through these massive shifts and transformations that are going on, we have to be able to, on an individual level, process. We have to be able to process our emotions, our life, our grief, our suffering, our pain, our pleasure, our love, our joy. We have to be able to be the vessel to experience everything fully, right? So in order for us to experience a beautiful collective shift, we have to each individually be doing our work, to be showing up for ourselves every day, and to be taking care of ourselves, right? And then once we can do that, like this energy is really bringing people together. So yeah, individuality, eccentricity, minor imperfections, strength in all, be your true self, prioritizing community over individuality. Beautiful. Okay, cool. And then we're gonna head back to, I flipped my page over so I have other information. So I'm just gonna go over again, like kind of like what came up between July and August full moons. This is the time that we kind of questioned everything, right? Like, so that's why I'm saying like it might have been intense. It probably was intense for you. And there's like a shadow on me. I'm gonna move this. Hopefully it doesn't mess it up. Yeah, because this way. Yeah, cool. Okay, sorry guys. I just wanted to not have that shadow on me. Okay, so yeah, so again, coming back to this, and I'm only going back to it because I have here that it was a time to question everything, and I forgot to mention that before, but I think it's really, really important because that's why it was so turbulent. That's why it was so intense. There's also something coming. I don't know what it is. I have no idea, but I just feel it in my bones, and I don't know what it is. So that's why it's so important for us right now to be connected to our truth, to be connected to ourselves, to be in as healthy of a place as possible, mind, body, spirit. Don't worry about what other people are thinking right now. It's all a distraction. It's all a ploy to keep you away from you. It just, remember who you are. You're just here to remember who you are and live that and be that, okay? Today, I harvested plantain off my property. I was like going around and call them weeds, like, but they're herbs and it's medicine, and this is why they demonized them, the plants, so that we'd kill them and we wouldn't have all this beautiful medicine. Well, guess fucking what? Nature always wins. There's like a flower growing through a concrete sidewalk. Like, come on. That's like the epitome of nature, is that it's constant, it's persistent, it's ever evolving. It's like, it's gonna live. Like, it wants to live. And we're the same. The human spirit is so fucking resilient and so fucking powerful. So when you're in your home and you're alone and you don't know what to do with all these emotions, remind yourself of your brilliance. Do something to shift the energy. Find a way to help yourself process the emotion, okay? And if you're struggling with that, then reach out to somebody. Reach out to somebody that does readings like or there's, so many beautiful way showers and healers right now that are stepping up into their life path, into their purpose, to help people just like you, because we've already been there and we're there right now, but we're not in the depths and of our suffering that we used to be, because we've been working, we've been doing the work. When the world was still a 24-hour world, we were meditating, we were in bed sleeping, we were exercising, we were doing affirmations, we were doing all the things to rewire our nervous system, to get us in alignment with ourselves, shedding old beliefs, shedding people that don't serve us, all these things for this moment so that we're able to step up. So if you're like a way shower, or you're somebody that is also here to speak your truth, then this is me saying, okay guys, it's time. We gotta step up, we gotta speak our truth, because these poor innocent people that don't know what's going on right now. And I'm not saying go speak to the masses and tell everybody, but make it like an intention for you to stand more in your truth, in your power. If you don't resonate with mask wearing, then say, I'm exempt, I don't wear masks. And if that's a problem, then that's no problem. I just don't have to shop here. It's like, how far are you willing to bend? Because I'm not bending at all anymore. I'm in my power, I'm in my truth, and nobody's going to take my sovereignty and freedom away from me. And that's just that. However that turns up in this reality, I'm not really quite sure. But I'm here to teach people, to empower people, to say, no, this is fucked up. This isn't right. This is not okay. Okay? And so you're here to do the same thing in whatever way that is for you, right? And that's kind of why I'm talking general, because it's nothing specific. It's like whatever that is within your being that wants to come through, that wants to come out, let it come out, let it come through. You are a conduit. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to feel guilty for. You have to bring that unconditional love into your presence right now. That's what our higher self, spirit, source, higher consciousness is asking, is we're not compassionate enough. We're not loving enough. We have to meet ourselves where we're at. We have to meet others where we're at. We have to learn when we can speak, or when we should speak, and when we should keep our mouth shut. Because honestly, telling everybody the truth is not the answer. Because the truth is fucking intense, and it's something that we each have to discover on our own, one little moment and experience at a time. Because you can't learn it all at once. Our human computer isn't meant for that, right? So you have to be gentle with yourself, and you have to be patient, and you have to understand how, yes, we may be resilient, but we're also very delicate, and we're also very, like fragile. There's a part of us, and we need to be able to hold that own part of us that is fragile, that is delicate, that needs that feminine, that mothering energy, that love, that unconditionality. And you can give that to yourself. It's just a process, and it's just about learning why you don't, really. What stops you from loving yourself? What stops you from connecting to yourself, right? Okay, so let's see. So refuse to think inside the box of a dying system that feeds off of fear, confusion, and disempowerment. Cast it aside and look at life through a new, fresh lens. Embody the freedom of Aquarius, the willingness to stand completely alone if that is what it takes to be true to yourself. Paths are diverging. We are shedding old relationships and new ones are arising. And that doesn't just mean like relationships like me and another person, or your relationship to everything and anything. And that's why I even said my relationship to work, I had to do work around that, right? Like, where do you place your value? That's a relationship. Connect with your value, connect with your integrity, connect with your truth. It can be really, really intense when we haven't done the work. And again, no judgment. You don't do the work until you start doing the work. So it's not really that big of a deal as to where you're at. So don't judge yourself, and just realize, okay, yeah, I'm ready to do the work. I'm ready to love myself. I'm ready to stand in my power. I'm sick of feeling like shit all the time and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Because that was me for the last 2 weeks. I said, I am tired of feeling so irritated about everything in my life. Like, everything was overwhelming to me. I couldn't handle anything. Like, I was so emotional. I felt like I needed to save the whole world, in my world, like everyone in my world. And it was exhausting. And it was like, I had to go through that to realize my unconscious patternings and my unconscious, like, putting myself on the back burner so that I can put other people before me, because I feel like I can help them and that they need help. But at the end of the day, I can't be of full service if I'm not making sure that I'm taken care of, right? So it is a balance. Okay. So I have here, there is no going back. The deep change is upon us. A new way of being. We are consciousness evolving in real time. Okay, guys? It's like the funniest thing I realized, like, honestly, it was probably a few years ago now, but I thought it was so funny because I was like, dude, everybody talks about evolution like past tense. Like Darwin, he created or discovered or whatever this theory, and like it's not happening anymore or something. Like, that's kind of how humans, in my way anyway, of perceiving how humans perceive it, that's kind of how it seems. But it's like, nah, guys, like, we're like in it. We're like in the process of evolution. So maybe we need to be reminded right now that we're evolving, but this is part of the evolution, and change is evolution, transformation, purification, right? Being able to prioritize and realize what's important and move through our reality in alignment with our true self, right? Because you're never going to feel fulfilled if you're trying to be someone that you're not, right? Okay. Oh, and then don't bottle up your feelings. That was another one, because I guess Aquarian energy, they like to bottle their feelings up. So that's another thing to really be aware of. And I guess I kind of hit the nail on the head with me saying that, like, I couldn't emotionally handle anything because I was suppressing so much without me even knowing, right? So it's like, really be aware of, like, not bottling up your emotions right now, okay? Woohoo! We're almost on my list. Okay. All right, only 3 more things, which honestly I've already talked about because I've talked a lot. And yeah, so, oh my God, the sun, guys, let me show you it. Hopefully it stays. Can you see? No, you can't. Well, anyway, it's in my face, so, okay. So, we have preserve your energy, okay? This is huge, 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 huge right now, because we can't keep giving and giving and giving. We need to receive. We need to give to ourselves. We have to realize what's important. We have to connect to, you know, when you say you can't do something, can you really not do it? Do you really not have the time? Do you really not have the money? Or are you just not prioritizing that? Get honest with yourself, with whatever that is. If you have struggles eating, if you have struggles exercising, if you have struggles processing your, like, get honest with yourself. Just be honest. Just be honest. And then that's how you can start prioritizing. Like, what do you prioritize? Just look at yourself. Look at where you spend your money. Look at where you spend your time. Look at where you spend your energy. And then choose to spend it differently. That's it. You know, you just got to go through the process of that and really be honest. Like, that's the key here. Honesty, guys. Be honest with yourself about it. Prioritizing your needs is the next one I have, which I've already talked a lot about. And then rewriting your beliefs. Okay, so that's why this work is so powerful right now, because as we're learning how to preserve our energy, how to keep our mental body, our emotional body, our physical body in a state of health, in a state of balance, in a state of flow, we'll realize what our beliefs are, right? So as we're learning to prioritize, we learn what our beliefs are. So if you prioritize money over your health, over your body, then you're gonna realize that in your life, right? You're gonna see it, you're gonna notice it. If you choose that you want to prioritize and have organic food, and today I just decided every day I have to go to the gym, even if it's for half an hour, that is my self-care. That is what makes me happy. That is what fills my cup. So that's what I have to focus on, right? For me, okay, that's my answer. Great, I'm gonna go do it. And that's that. And from there, and that's because I'm in this higher energy though, right? I'm sure I'm going to have my ups and downs going through the process. But when I don't want to go to the gym, I'm going to remember this version of myself and go, no, you know what? Actually, I know I'm going to feel better, and actually do that. Or say that something that you shouldn't be having, then you can say, no, I know I'm going to feel like shit, so that's why I don't want it. Not because, like, you can't have it because, you know, like the forbidden fruit, but it's like, no, I don't actually want to have it because it makes me feel like shit, you know? So that's a choice. So yeah, rewiring and rewriting wanted to come out at the same time. So both of those, your beliefs, okay? Rewriting and rewiring your beliefs. And once we can be aware of what it is our beliefs are, then we're able to shift out of the ones that limit us, right? So that's a part of what my readings do for you, is that we sit with your beliefs, we sit with your emotions, we sit with your truths, and we process kind of like how to be able to process all of these things. And the cards speak through me and to you so that you're able to receive whatever messages that you're able to receive, right? Because I'm just a conduit, just like here right now. I'm just channeling information, and I'm tapped in and I'm connected because I'm a clear channel, because I've done the work to be able to purify my mind, purify my heart. When I first started doing these, I I was so nervous, and I was like, so in my head, and then so in my heart, and then da-da-da. But I showed up, I did it. I'm like, okay, but in order for me to get better at this, I have to sit through those feelings. I have to sit, I just have to persevere. I have to push through. But not in a way where it's like something outside of myself, like, oh, I have to prove something or anything like that. It was just like a knowing within me that this is what I have to do, right? So trust that knowing. We all have that knowing, and you have to access it. And then I have quantum, right? So quantum meaning that these belief shifts that you're going to be processing this week, or from here forward, they're quantum, guys. Quantum, which means instantaneous. Once we can learn, this is the beautiful thing, being able to access these higher energies. We just came through the portal. We kind of looked through questioning everything, and our beliefs and the government and our systems and this, and how we're living life, and how we're eating, and how we're treating each other, and how all these things came up. And now it's like, okay, now all that broke out of us so that we're able to anchor in our truth. Whenever we have a breakdown, it's so we can have a breakthrough, so we can evolve, right? So this is going to happen instantly. It's just like me. Like today, last night I said, okay, I'm going to go to the gym every day this week. And then today I went and I fucking loved it. And I was doing my handstands, and I was getting everything done that I needed. And I had so much fun. And I'm like, hey, I need to do this every day for me. It's what I need, right? So what do you need? Because instantaneously, it can be yours if you so choose. Are you a vibrational match to it? That's what I just heard. The universe is so funny. All right. So I got 3 decks here. We have the Angel Therapy deck. We have the Sacred Geometry Activations. And then we have Beyond Lumeria deck here. All right. So I think I'm going to do angel cards first.